Dante's Boxing Nation, what's going on, guys? So yeah, today I wanted to talk about the fights we just had this past weekend on Showtime. It was a pretty decent card. But you know, when this card was first put together, you know, a couple months back, the only fight that I was really looking forward to watching, and I think should have been the main event, was the Keith Thurman versus Diego Chavez fight. And I'll tell you why. I think a lot of people will agree with me, you know, when I say this. But when I watch fights, the most exciting fights to watch, or the most exciting fighters to watch, are fighters that you know have an actual potential to be maybe the best fighter in his division one day. Maybe crack the pound for pound top 10 list and be one of the best fighters in the world, right? And that's what you had. That was the potential you had with two undefeated fighters that were both coming to win, right? Diego Chavez and Keith Thurman. When it comes to the Soto Karass and Andre Berto fight, you know, of course, as a promoter, you know, it's a matchmaker's dream because it's going to be an exciting barn burner type fight. That's at least what you would expect, right? But outside of that, we already know neither one of these fighters have the potential to be the best in their division. Neither one of these fighters have the potential to be pound for pound one of the best fighters in the world, because we already know that Karass and Berto, they drop the ball every single time they fight a half-decent fighter, right? So if there's if these two fighters have no future, then it's really like watching an exhibition, you know, a celebrity sparring match or something, you know, something that's really not relevant to the future of the sport, right? This is the reason why we want to see fights like Matthysse versus Danny Garcia, because we want to know who the best fighter in that division is going to be, and we want to know how far that fighter can go after that. We already know that Karass and Berto, you know, they have already went as far as they can go. Okay, they'll put on entertaining fights against, you know, lesser opponents. You know, they'll give fans, you know, a little something to be happy about, but every single time they step up, they're going to lose. Okay? It's no different than Gatti versus Ward, you know, Mickey Ward. And I say that because I remember when the first fight was first signed. You know, when the first fight was first signed, you know, and I remember the day it was a Saturday, and I was thinking to myself, man, what fight is coming on this Saturday? And I was, man, it's just Ward and Gatti. I mean, I knew the fight was going to be entertaining, but like I said before, I knew that neither one of these guys had potential to even beat C+ fighters, right? So that kind of took my interest away. Now, sitting there watching the fight and saying, oh man, these dudes are slugging, this is a good fight. Yeah, it's good for that, but that's about it, okay? One more time. We watch fights. I think the majority of us, I'm sure of it, the majority of us watch fights because you want to see, if you're rooting for a certain guy, you want that guy to be the best in the world. You don't want to just, watch him and say, oh yeah, he's exciting when he fights against D-level opponents. No, you want your guy to be the best. I mean, this is the reason why so many Canelo fans are stoked when it comes to Canelo, because this is a guy with a potential future. This is a guy who can actually go places. You know, this is a guy who actually has a chance of possibly beating Floyd Mayweather and being pound for pound top 3, one of the best fighters in the world, right? So like I said, this is the reason why we watch these fights. This is the reason why, we are more, at least me in particular, this is the reason why I wanted to see the Keith Thurman-Diego Chavez fight, and I didn't really care too much about a Berto Soto Karass. That's nothing but a Gatti Ward to me. You know, I mean, remember, guys, Gatti, he got destroyed by Alfonso Gomez, right? Mickey Ward was a journeyman, getting beat up by Zab Judah, and Zab Judah's like 7th fight as a professional. It shows you that he has always just been an opponent, right? So, so entertaining, yes, But is there a future to it? Is that some guy you can rely on beating everyone? Is this the guy you're telling everyone is going to be the next pound for pound? Hell no, right? But we can see a little of that when it comes to a Keith Thurman, even when it comes to Diego Chavez, even in losing, right? I mean, let me go. So let's go ahead and let's get into this Keith Thurman Diego Chavez fight. Now, I was really impressed with Keith Thurman, and I'm still impressed with Diego Chavez. Chavez, he put on a great performance, and I could see, as long as he doesn't get discouraged and start fighting different because he got knocked out, I could see a great future for Diego Chavez. But Keith Thurman, he has really, really passed the test that he was supposed to pass. Okay? The most impressive thing about Keith Thurman is not just his power. Like I said, power alone doesn't win fights. The fact that Keith Thurman was in there with an opponent who could hit just as hard as he could, who wanted to win just as bad as he wanted to win, and had skill, had a great jab, had threw combinations, threw everything with power. And I'm speaking of Chavez. Keith Thurman did not let this discourage him. The first 3-4 rounds, or I would say the first 3 rounds, Diego Chavez, he came out throwing everything at Keith Thurman, right? And, if you guys have been watching a lot of undefeated prospects, I don't know if you pay attention to all the undefeated prospects that come up, but a lot of them, they buckle under any type of resistance, right? They buckle under any type of pressure. A fighter that will not take no for an answer and keeps coming after you and has the confidence that you have. There's been so many in the recent years. There's been so many undefeated prospects that didn't even make it to this level that Keith Thurman is at, and they just fought, a tough, sturdy journeyman, and that guy, he upset him, right? It's been a couple fighters. You got Diego Magdaleno. You have one of the Molina twins. I think it was, I don't remember if it was Oscar Molina or Javier. I think it was Javier Molina. So Javier Molina, he had a very, very impressive amateur record. Won a lot of national titles. Matter of fact, he even went to he even made the U.S. Olympic team, which tells you a lot right there. So when he turned pro, Top Rank showed up, and everyone, they looked at this kid as having a really, really bright future. And I think it was around his 6th or 7th fight, he fought a typical journeyman that you're just supposed to run through. And, as soon as that journeyman showed resistance, all of a sudden, Molina was in the fight of his life. All right? Long story short, Molina, he lost. He lost against a guy who he was supposed to be able to beat easy. All right? And we already know Diego Magdaleno, same type story. He was supposed to, he was Top Rank was building him up pretty fast, and he was supposed to be a new Top Rank star. And they put him in there with Rocky Martinez. Rocky Martinez exposed him. All right? So the point I'm making is, and that was just 2 examples. You have you have many undefeated fighters who lost to a D-level opponent, a fighter who they were supposed to beat easy, and they couldn't pass that little small stepping stone test. Keith Thurman, Diego Chavez, these are different type of fighters. Keith Thurman in particular, the reason why I'm so impressed with him is because, like I think I said before, I'm not sure, but what made that fight so impressive is the first 3 rounds, I think I said this earlier, Diego Chavez seemed to be really, really fighting hard. And you could even say he won, maybe the first 2 rounds. He bloodied up, busted up Keith Thurman's nose. And like I said before, a lot of fighters, they would have buckled under pressure and they would have started giving away rounds like Diego Magdaleno did against Rocky Martinez, start falling apart psychologically. Keith Thurman didn't do that. What Keith Thurman did is he pulled out one of his most important weapons, and that weapon was versatility. Okay? He showed that he was able to adjust. He was able to adapt. He had more than one plan. He showed that he had a plan A, B, and maybe even a plan C, right? And that was the difference in that fight, you know. And what I really like about Keith Thurman is not only does he obviously have, you know, some impressive power, but he can box with that power. And even when he's boxing, he's still trying to knock you out. Right? I mean, he was putting together some really impressive combinations. You know, me as, you know, working in the gym all the time with my kids, I'm paying attention to all the different type of combinations that he's throwing, you know, how he's trying to basically, you know, throw feints and feint Diego out of position and land combinations that Diego just doesn't expect, right? And that's why I was so impressed with Keith Thurman. I really see a bright future when it comes to Keith. You know, I don't know who's going to step up and fight him. You know, we already know Floyd Mayweather has already stepped up, and he's already fighting an undefeated, young, strong lion. You know, my question is, will someone like Manny Pacquiao get in the ring with a Keith Thurman? Will someone like Juan Marquez? Will someone like Tim Bradley, you know, get in there? Adrian Broner, I know he's not going to get in there because he's floating up and down in divisions, and I really don't know what he's doing right now. You know, I personally think he should take the Maidana fight. That would be a perfect fight for him. And you know, I don't know if Adrian Broner just isn't comfortable at the welterweight division since he did just jump from 135 to 147. But we'll see what happens with that. But anyway, let me get back to Keith Thurman. So, you know, another thing that I was impressed with when it comes to this fight is you seldomly see a fight where you have two fighters with the same type of power and they both have skills to go with that, right? But something else that I noticed with Keith Thurman is he showed a great chin to go with the adjusting ability, to go with the power, to go with the boxing. He showed a great chin because he got caught with some clean shots. And every time he got caught, he came right back with his own clean shots. So, yeah, man, I really see a bright future with this kid. And I can't wait to see what's going to happen next. I mean, like I said, we have a lot of stuff going on in the welterweight division right now with Pacquiao, Rios, Provodnikov, Alvarado, you know, Floyd Mayweather. I know he's jumping up, but Floyd Mayweather, Canelo. It's some really good potential fights out there. Bradley against Marquez. The welterweight division is booming right now. So we'll see what'll happen. And you know, that's pretty much all I got to say. I'll catch up with you guys. I'm on to the next one.